Hello everyone and welcome. In today's video, we're making one of the most treasured desserts of our traditional cuisine, ashure, also known as Noah's pudding. But this won't be a small homemade recipe. This time, we'll be cooking a giant batch of ashure for 1,500 people. Ashure is a very special dessert that has symbolized abundance, sharing, and unity for centuries. According to tradition, it is believed to have originated when the last remaining ingredients on Prophet Noah's Ark were brought together in a single pot. For this reason, the combination of many different ingredients in one cauldron has become a symbol of togetherness and prosperity. Today, we'll continue this tradition by preparing our ashure step by step in giant cooking pots. I'll also show you all the ingredients we'll be using, every stage of the cooking process, and the important tips you should know when making ashure in large quantities. So let's begin our preparations. Our ashure will include raisins, currants, raw peanuts, hazelnuts, dried apricots, dried figs, cooked beans, cooked chickpeas, and many other ingredients. Since there are so many ingredients, instead of listing every single one here, I've included the complete ingredient list along with the exact quantities in the video description. Anyone who would like to try this recipe can easily find everything there. First, I'm dividing 25 kilograms of ashure wheat between two large pots. I add enough cold water to completely cover the wheat and let it soak one day in advance. This allows the wheat to absorb water, shortens the cooking time, and helps it develop a much better texture. Right now, you're watching the preparations from the day before. In a moment, I'll show you exactly how I prepare every remaining ingredient one by one. The following day, we'll move on to the cooking stage. In other words, you'll see the entire preparation process of this ashure from beginning to end without missing a single detail. Next are the almonds. To make them easier to peel, I first boil them in a pressure cooker for about 10 minutes. Then, without wasting any time, I transfer them into ice-cold water. The sudden change in temperature makes the skins come off much more easily. Even so, peeling this many almonds one by one still takes patience, and it takes me about an hour. Now I'm removing the stems from the dried figs. You can either pull the stems off by hand or cut them with scissors. Then I use a large kebab knife to chop the figs into small pieces. I don't leave them too large because I want every spoonful of ashure to have a balanced mixture of ingredients. After chopping the figs, I place them into a large bucket and fill it with cold water. I do the same thing with the walnuts. There's an important reason for this. Figs and walnuts are among the ingredients that darken the color of ashure the most. Soaking them beforehand helps release both their excess color and any dust. This keeps our ashure much lighter and clearer in color. Now I'm preparing the dried apricots. I cut them into small cubes using the same large kebab knife. After chopping them, I also place the apricots into cold water. This softens them while also removing excess sugar and any dust from their surface. This time I'm preparing summer oranges. After cutting off both ends, I dice them together with their peels. Orange peel gives ashure a wonderfully fresh and natural aroma. However, it's important to remove the bitterness from the peel first. To do this, I add plenty of salt and let the peels soak in water. This removes most of their bitterness. Next come the raw peanuts. Even though they've already been shelled and look clean, I still soak them in cold water. At first glance, they may appear perfectly clean, but you'll soon notice the water becoming darker. That's exactly why this step shouldn't be skipped. Now I'm preparing the hazelnuts. Since they came to me whole, I need to crack them first. One of the easiest methods is to place them inside a sturdy bag and gently tap them. I crack them little by little. If you hit them too hard, they'll turn into tiny pieces. Taking your time is the best approach. After cracking them, I place them into a bucket and soak them in cold water as well. Next are the seedless golden raisins. I wash them thoroughly and place them into cold water. Then I soak the currants the same way. Some people think currants are unnecessary, but I always add them to my Ashure. They don't just improve the flavor, they also create tiny black specks throughout the dessert, giving it a much richer and more appetizing appearance. In my opinion, a great bowl of Ashure should be appealing not only because of its taste, but also because of how it looks. Now I top up the water in the pots and place them over low heat. They'll cook slowly throughout the entire night. By morning, our wheat will have reached almost the perfect consistency. Let's quickly summarize what we've done so far. We've washed every dried fruit and every nut individually and soaked them in cold water. We've already cooked the beans and chickpeas, changed their water, and left them ready to use. Now all that's left is to wait for the night to pass. The next morning has arrived. The first thing I do is give the wheat a good stir. I completely discard the dark-colored water that formed while it was soaking. Then I rinse the wheat once more and divide it among 3 large pots filled with boiling water. When I first prepared these pots, I filled them all the way to the top with water. Now I'm setting some of that hot water aside because we'll be using it again shortly. We don't waste anything. Using a strainer, I transfer the wheat directly into the boiling water. Now, the real cooking process begins. It's mulberry season right now. Together with the children, we picked some fresh white mulberries from the tree. I'll be adding them to the Ashure as well. We also have some dried white mulberries. You can use whatever fruit you have available at home. Apples, peaches, pears, whatever you like. Ashure is also about bringing together the ingredients you already have with a spirit of abundance. Before adding the mulberries, I wash them thoroughly and let them soak briefly in water. Now let's take a look at the ingredients we soaked last night. Here, I'm rinsing the figs and walnuts a few more times. After that, we'll combine all of these ingredients in the large cooking cauldron. The orange peels have also finished soaking, and most of their bitterness is now gone. I pour out the salty water and rinse them thoroughly. They're now ready to be used together with the peel. Next, I wash the rice and let it soak briefly in water. The rice helps give the Ashure its perfect consistency. As the wheat boils, I make sure to remove the foam that forms on the surface. This may seem like a small detail, but it's actually very important. If you leave the foam in the pot, the color of the Ashure may become darker over time. If you want a lighter, clearer Ashure, don't skip this step. Now I'm adding the cinnamon sticks. Next, I add the whole cloves. Even while everything is still cooking, the kitchen starts filling with an amazing aroma. I set a timer for about 1 hour. During this time, the wheat will continue to cook until it's perfectly tender. After 1 hour, I'll add the orange peels. If there's any other ingredient that still needs more cooking, for example, if the chickpeas haven't become as soft as I want, I can also add them at this stage. I also like to add the hazelnuts early because I want them to become nice and soft. 1 hour has passed. Now I'm adding the orange peels. Next, I combine all of the ingredients I prepared earlier in the large cooking cauldron. I also pour in the hot water that we set aside. As the mulberries, figs, and the rest of the ingredients go in, the cauldron gradually fills to the brim. Now I'm adding the rice. While adding the rice, it's important to keep stirring continuously, otherwise the grains can stick together and form clumps. Next come the hazelnuts. Before adding them, I definitely do not use the water they were soaking in. Just look at the color of that water. It's still quite dark. That's exactly why it's important to drain them completely and add them clean. Now I'm adding a small amount of Esparta's famous rose petals. I don't use too much, just enough to give the Ashure a light, pleasant aroma. Next, I add the cooked chickpeas. I poured out the soaking water, rinsed them again, and only then added them to the pot. Small details like these really do make a difference in both the color and the flavor. I do the same with the cooked beans. After rinsing them well, I add them to the cauldron. Now I'm adding a small amount of vanilla powder. Too much wouldn't taste good because it can leave a slightly bitter flavor if used excessively. My goal is simply to give the dessert a pleasant aroma. Now it's time to add the granulated sugar. I'm often asked, can I use cane sugar? Or can I use a different type of sugar? Of course you can. You can prepare it with whichever sugar you have on hand. The important thing is maintaining the right consistency and balance of the Ashure. Finally, it's time for our most colorful ingredients, the raisins, currants, and the rest of the dried fruits. This is the stage that truly enriches the Ashure, both in appearance and in flavor. Even after all that washing, you can still see the color of the water running through the strainer. That's exactly why I always drain the ingredients completely before adding them to the cauldron. Small details like these make a big difference in the final result. As you can see, we've ended up with exactly the kind of Ashure I was hoping for. Rich with ingredients, perfectly thick, and wonderfully hearty. Now the only ingredient left is shredded coconut. I add a generous amount and stir everything together thoroughly. After that, we'll fill some of the Ashure into serving containers. These large cauldrons will then be taken to the town square, where the Ashure will be distributed to the public free of charge. That's one of the most beautiful traditions surrounding Ashure. It represents sharing, abundance, and solidarity. These servings are never sold, they are given freely. Friends, you can see the color for yourselves. The ingredients are high quality, and the Ashure has a light, clear appearance. When it's prepared properly, this is exactly how the final result should look. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer as many of them as I can. And here we are in the town square. The Ashure we prepared for 1,500 people is now being served to the community. I'd like to thank everyone who contributed to making this possible, and I sincerely hope this wonderful tradition continues for many years to come. Enjoy.